Welcome back to Billionaire Success Lessons. Today, we are telling the story of a man who did not build his fortune with flashy slogans, viral fame, or a larger-than-life public image. He built it through discipline, engineering, patience, and one of the boldest industrial bets of the modern era. This is the story of Zeng, the man behind CATL, a company that grew from a bold battery startup into a transplantation and energy. And what makes his journey so powerful is not just the billions. Build it. Quiet success. Heavy success. Long-term success. The kind of success that is not made in headlines first, but in factories, laboratories, supply chains, and years of believing in a future before the rest of the world can clearly see it. Before CATL became a global giant, Zeng and the founding team had already built CATL in 1999 and turned it into a leading company in lithium-ion batteries for consumer electronics, according to CATL's own history. Then, in 2011, as a new endeavor focused on power batteries and energy storage, that part of the story matters, because it shows that Zeng did not appear out of nowhere. He was not guessing from the outside. He had already spent years inside the battery world, learning the science, the manufacturing, the margin, the customer demands, and the brutal difference between an idea that sounds promising and a product that actually works at scale. That is one of the first great lessons in his story. Extraordinary success is often built on invisible apprenticeship. Many people want the breakthrough, but they do not want the long season of preparation. They want the spotlight, but not the years in which nobody's watching. Zeng's path reminds us that mastery is not usually sudden. It is layered. Quietly, patiently, skill by skill. By the time the world noticed, he had already spent years learning the hidden language of the battery business. And then came the harder decision, leaving the relative comfort of what had already been built and stepping toward a new future. In 2011, when CATL was established, electric vehicles were still far from dominant. And building a company around power batteries required not just technical conviction, but courage. It meant betting on a future that was still uncertain, would not remain background components, but would become the beating heart of a new industrial age. CATL's official materials describe the company as and Reuters reported in 2024 that Zeng was still pushing the company beyond batteries toward it. That tells you something about how he thinks. He does not simply react to the future. He tries to build ahead of it. Think about how difficult that kind of vision really is. It is easy to say now that electric vehicles and energy storage matter. The world can see it clearly now. Governments talk about it. Automakers invest in it. Markets price it in. But when Robin Zeng was making his early bets, none of this was guaranteed at that scale we see today. Betting early on a changing industry is lonely work. The future may feel obvious in hindsight, but in real time it often feels risky, expensive, and uncertain. And batteries are not a glamorous business to build. They are unforgiving. The chemistry has to work. The safety has to hold. The quality has to be consistent. The manufacturing has to scale. The customer cannot forgive failure, because in this kind of business, failure is not a bad review. Failure can mean fire, recall, lost trust, or the collapse of years of work. Robin Zeng was not building a lightweight internet app that could pivot every week. He was building physical technology that had to earn trust under enormous pressure. That is why his story is so meaningful. He chose a hard road. He chose to build in a field where excellence is measurable, where weakness gets exposed fast, and where discipline matters more than image. Some people become wealthy by riding trends. Others become wealthy by building the infrastructure that makes those trends possible. Robin Zeng belongs to the second group. He did not just participate in it. He helped power it. Listed on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange in 2018. And later CATL's 2026 ESG report noted that its 8 shares were listed in Hong Kong on May 20th. 2025, Reuters reported that the Hong Kong making it the world's biggest listing so far that year. And Robin Zeng said the listing marked CATL's those moments were major public validations, but they were not the beginning of success. They were the moment the outside world finally saw the scale of what had already been built through years of patient execution. Onto public recognition usually comes late. The world sees the bell ringing at the stock exchange. It sees the net worth. It sees the headlines. But it does not always see the years before that. It does not see the decisions made when the market was smaller. The sleepless nights around cost and yield, the burden of hiring, the pressure of expansion, or the fear that one wrong call can. That hidden season is where real builders are formed. Robin Zeng also understood something that many founders miss. When your industry changes fast, surviving is not enough. You have to keep innovating before. CATL's official releases showed the company unveiling its first-generation sodium-ion battery in 2021, expanding internationally with a major Hungary plant announcement in 2022, and deepening strategic ties with global automakers such as Mercedes-Benz and BMW. Reuters later reported that Zeng wanted CATL to push beyond batteries into power grids, energy systems, and modular EV platforms. In other words, he was not satisfied with winning yesterday's race. He kept moving the company toward tomorrow. That kind of thinking takes more than intelligence. It takes restlessness of the right kind, not insecurity, not panic, but a disciplined refusal to become lazy. Some leaders rise because they are hungry, and success makes them soft. Robin Zeng's path suggests the opposite instinct. The bigger the company became, the more seriously he seems to have taken the need to reinvent it. That is one of the hardest skills in business, staying sharp after you have already won. And the pressure only grew. Reuters described CATL as the world's largest battery maker and reported that Zeng wanted to transform it into a broader green energy provider. CATL's own recent statements frame the mission in similarly ambitious terms, with Zeng speaking about zero-carbon technology and broader industrial transformation, different from the challenge at the beginning. In the early days, the challenge was now the challenge is proving that companies can lead the next. Losing its edge. And there is something deeply human. Arrival. As though once you make it, you can finally rest. But real builders learn that success is often not arrival at all. It is expansion of responsibility. When your company matters more, your mistakes become more expensive. Your vision has to widen. The mountain does not disappear. It simply gets taller. For anyone listening today on Billionaire Success Lessons, Robin Zeng's story carries a message that goes far beyond business. It teaches that some of the most powerful futures are built in industries that do not look. Batteries are not romantic. Supply chains are not cinematic. Manufacturing quality control does not. And yet inside those hard, technical, demanding, hiding where the crowd is looking. It may be hiding in the difficult thing most people do. Not have the patience to master. His journey also teaches the value of long-term thinking. A short-term mind wants quick applause. A long-term mind wants durable value. Zeng built in a field where he built where the work had to be real, the performance had to hold up. And the future had to be earned in practical terms. There is a quiet nobility in that kind of success. It is not about looking important. It is about becoming useful at a level the world cannot ignore. As a global leader in new energy technologies, and Zeng remains at the center of the company as manager. Forbes 2026 billionaire list placed him among the wealthiest people in the world. But the number attached to his wealth, while wealth is the result, the deeper story is the character underneath it, the willingness to study a hard field, take a massive industrial risk, endure the pain of scaling, and keep pushing innovation long after the world has already begun calling you successful. And maybe that is why his story because we live in a time when many people are tempted to chase the appearance of success instead of the substance of it. They want to look rich before they become valuable. They want attention before mastery. They want results without the decade of discipline those results usually require. Zeng's life points in the opposite direction. Build something real. Build something hard. Build something the future will need. And let the world notice when it is ready. He also teaches us that being early is not enough by itself. Plenty of people enter the right industry at the right time and still fail. Timing opens the door, but execution decides who stays in the room. Zeng did not win only because electric vehicles rose. He won because he kept building the capacity, technology, trust, and partnerships needed to matter when that rise accelerated. He did not simply predict a trend. He helped make the trend possible. That is a deeper kind of success. It is not the success of guessing right once. It is the success of building right again and again. It is not the success of catching a wave. It is the success of building the engine inside the wave. It is not just the success of becoming rich. It is the success of becoming essential. So when you think about Robin Zeng, do not think only about a billionaire from China. Think about the builder who chose one of the hardest industrial arenas in the modern world and kept going until his company became central to a global transformation. Think about the courage it takes to move from consumer batteries into the far more demanding world of electric mobility and energy storage. Think about the patience it takes to build factories, technology, partnerships, and trust at scale. Think about the discipline it takes to stay ambitious after success has already arrived. And that is why this story belongs on Billionaire Success Lessons. Because it reminds us that greatness is often built where ordinary people do not want to spend enough time. It is built in the tough fields, the technical fields, the repetitive fields, the fields where progress is slow, costly, and difficult to explain at parties. But those are often the places where real power is formed. Robin Zeng did not become extraordinary by choosing the easiest road. He became extraordinary by choosing a road where excellence had to be proven in the real world, not just promised in words. So the next time you feel discouraged because your work is hard, remember this story. Hard work is not always a sign you are on the wrong path. Sometimes it is a sign you are building something real. Sometimes the very difficulty of the road is what keeps the crowd away. And sometimes the people who stay with the hard work long enough become the ones who shape the future. That is the story of Robin Zeng. Not just a story of billions. A story of conviction. A story of engineering. A story of patience. A story of building the hidden power behind a changing world.